your cup of tea. Welcome to this popbooks.crypto moment, everyone. Water. Water is refreshing, is it not? They said there's nothing better that you can drink for your body is water, just plain straight water. Now, let's talk about water in the sense of even your knowledge and conscience of water, and yes, even tea. How are we going to do that today? Well, I like to start from a young age that the first time you experienced tea, was able to drink it, for many of us, I bet you it had some type of sweetener in it, did it not? Some type of sugar. And did you know, though, at that time, it was probably just your regular a brand. Remember, they didn't tell me to do this. I just wanted to show you. But one of the major brands that a lot of persons started off, at least, again, in the North American continent, happened to be the Lipton tea brand. And it was just that one regular type flavor that they had, okay? And then maybe they, you probably spruce it up with, like I said, some type of sweetener, all right? Sugar, if you will. Now, years later, we're even in the year of 2022. How many different tastes and flavor of teas have you experienced? There are a variety. I mean, every flavor that you can actually think about, from raspberry, strawberry, the regular plain tea, if you want to call it that, and all sorts of other herbal type remedy teas, you see. And yet you will find, as you taste different ones, some of them you will probably say, just not my taste, you see. One of them happens to be, again, from a character that made it famous, you see, from the science fiction genre. He actually used to drink Earl Grey tea. And for many persons, it was the first time they heard of it and actually tried it back in the 80s and 90s because of this character that made it well known, you see, in the science fiction genre. And when some tried it, they said, no, that's just not my cup of tea. And yet they would still drink maybe their regular sweetened tea. All right. Okay. So this happens to be their taste. Okay. Now, remember how I said water is the best thing for your body, no matter what, just straight up plain water, and how it rejuvenates you, refreshes you, cleanses you. And people will tell you again, there's nothing better. But for the sake of piquing your interest even more, I may be able to tell you there's something that keeps the same refreshing and the cleansing properties of water. And so let's say it's on par and maybe even better. What you mean by that, James? Well, I'm going to say at least in the taste factor. Okay. All right. And I know already some people saying, let me write this down. I'm going to my doctor with this. No, but see, that's what I'm getting ready to tell you about with conscience. See, you will run into persons at times, and maybe you're one of them, that surprisingly, they actually do not care too much for drinking water at all, you see. And, sometimes, like I said, when I talk about the conscience, there are actually, I told you, items and activities, recreational, and even different types of knowledge at times that, according to God, is perfectly all right to expand your mind in those horizons, all right? And yet, when some persons realize what it involves, whether it's the studying, the preparation, or what have you, to learn certain types of knowledge that's really still for the upbuildment, you see, of your own mind. And like I said, in a very positive way, even, some person would be like, no, just give me the straight up water, even though other persons may be saying, no, that's just not me. You see what I'm talking about? So you have your preferences. that go into your conscience. And so one person may like a certain type of tea this way, and some persons may not like it at all. Some persons, once again, may want to spruce up their drinks in a variety of other ways. And then some persons may say, no, just give it to me straight. Well, notice this in learning and maturity, because sometimes I told you again, it's the preparation of it all, the knowledge of it all, or what it can do to help a person. See, some years ago, and this is what you will learn on or from a farm, whether you grew up on one or had the chance to experience the farm. You see, in preparation, have you ever heard of someone say, would you like a tall glass of sun tea? Now, doesn't that sound refreshing even within itself? Why is it called sun tea anyway? Well, just listen to the preparation. Some persons do it a little bit, differently. I'm going to give you the basic way of the way, back in the day, it would be prepared. You could actually take a huge container, jar, and place a whole bunch of tea bags in there. And I'm talking more than 5 to 10, depending on how strong you want to make it. And also the water, because I know, again, you see, today people might actually purchase bottled water or what have you to put in it to make sure it don't have all these other type of chemicals in there, but will fill that huge jar, container, of water with the tea bags in there, and will just sit it out there on their patio or porch in the backyard, during the heat of the day, noontime. Let it sit out there. After you place all those bags in it, you still would just want to stir it around a little bit. And as I told you before, some people will put the ice in there. Then I wouldn't. But then you put the tea bags in there just with the water and let it sit out there in the hot sun all day. You may find even bees may fly around or what have you. But if you got it all, sealed up tight and everything, with the container, on top, the lid actually, real tight, then you have no problem. Let the bees fly around. Who knows? Maybe as the sun continues to cook, if you will, continues to prepare that jar, if you will, with all those rainbow producing sun rays in the tea, you will end up seeing, that water is totally not clear anymore, but the tea is actually starting to, dilute into the water, and you're still getting the effect as if maybe you boil the tea, but no, you're actually using the sun to prepare the tea for you. All right. With that knowledge, you're patient. You're waiting over 3 or 4 hours. And then later, as you bring it in, hey, you may pour a few ice cubes into a glass or what have you. Pour that sun tea right over it. And guess what? Depending on where you're at, you can drink that absolutely straight. And not only will it be refreshing, it will also revitalize you with once again, the water, the tea, caffeine, if you had some of it in the bags. And yes, also the vitamin D, if you will. Okay, I might be going a little bit further with that because remember, we get vitamin D just by being outside. But do you see that jar, that tea received all of that cooked by the sun itself? Now, you also may want to drop just a lemon in there. But as I said before, the straight up way of making sun tea is to just put the bags in there, huge jar of water, let the sun cook it. I keep saying cook it, boil it, whatever, because it won't boil. See, that's the other thing. It'll just, once again, dilute the tea, mix it in there, the tea bags, the nutrients and everything like that, with the sun rays. And as I mentioned before, when you take a glass and you end up putting some ice in there and pouring the tea over there, you can just drink it straight with flavor, and it will feel just as refreshing as water, if not more. And so you're getting everything that you need. And I just wanted to share that with the ones who just say, I don't even like to drink water without lemon. But see, getting right back now to your conscience again. In life, as I've mentioned before, and I've mentioned it on a more serious level of how your conscience plays a part in other items and vitamins and medical treatments or medications that you would take into your body, you see that others won't take. Some won't take it because of even adverse reactions. You see, not every prescription is for every human body, you see. And so you know that, and you're aware what your likes and dislikes are. You do your research, you get your knowledge. And so sometimes you end up finding even herbal remedies, if you will, that helped you in your different treatments, even in the medical area, in the health area. You see what I'm saying? And yet at the same time, depending on who you talk to, some persons may say, no, that's just not my cup of tea. Whether it's their cup of tea or not, whether it's yours or not, it is still your preference, with your knowledge, you see, with your comfort, what works for you, what you enjoy, if you will, in this form of medical treatment, you see, herbal and things of that nature. It is up to you. And you will find, when you do your research at times, those different types of treatments that other persons may not have tried for this ailment or that ailment, guess what? It works for you. It works for your taste, you see, in that matter. Now, we could go a little bit more deeper, but that'll be for a later time. But just keep in mind again, your conscience is your cup of tea. Your friend's conscience is their cup of tea. Some persons may still just I want the regular green tea. Some persons will say, no, I gotta have me some sweet strawberry tea. And then other persons may say, no, I need some relaxing tea, calamine, and all these other things. All the same, what is your cup of tea? We appreciate what you like, and hopefully again, you will appreciate and respect what someone else likes as their cup of tea. There's certainly never any competition. It's just a preference. This was a popbooks.crypto moment. You have a wonderful day.